Okay, first grade. So we are learning about frontier explorers, and today we're going to learn about someone special. It's a woman named Sacagawea, and we're going to learn the importance of her role in this journey, this expedition that Lewis and Clark are on. But before we begin that, please take out your Frontier Explorers listening journal and turn to the page that says Sacagawea at the top. And you'll see a lot of emojis on there. So as I read the story, you're going to pretend that you are Lewis or Clark, one of the men, on the journey. And you're going to be thinking about how you might have been feeling at that time during certain of the situations that they're going through. So there are going to be 5 different points in the story where you are going to take a look at the faces and circle the face that shows how you think Lewis or Clark was feeling during that time. Okay, so let's take a look at these emojis first so you understand what each emoji represents. So they all have the same. First one is a smiley face, so they're happy. The second one is like, ugh, it looks kind of worried or scared. The second one is sad, or the third one, sorry, is sad face. The next one is like a shock face or a scared face, like something shocked them or scared them. And then the fifth one is a mad face. And then the last one is their crying face. Okay, so we're going to be listening and thinking about how they're feeling during the story. All right, let's begin. As autumn approached, Lewis and Clark were in a hurry. They knew the Rocky Mountains lay ahead, and they hoped to spend the winter there among the Mandan and Hidatsa tribe. However, it was already so cold that the river was freezing into ice, and when the river froze, it was impossible to travel up the river in their boats. Where the Knife River flows into the Missouri, Lewis and Clark found 5 villages of Hidatsa and Mandan Native Americans. Like other Native Americans living on the plains, these people hunted bison, also known as buffalo, from horseback. They also lived in permanent earth lodges and farmed the land around their homes. 4 or 5 families shared each lodge, and even the horses spent bad weather days inside, in a roped off space just inside the entrance. The Mandans especially welcomed the travelers from the east because they were used to visitors. Other Native American tribes and trappers came to the Mandan area to share news and to buy and sell furs from beavers, bear, elk, or bison. Across the river from one of the Mandan villages, the explorers built a wooden house and surrounded it with log walls 18 feet high for protection. The men of the Corps of Discovery called their winter home Fort Mandan, named after the Mandan Native Americans. They dragged the pirogues onto the riverbank, but before they could move the keelboat, the river froze around it. It took 3 weeks to chop the keelboat out of the ice. They had other worries too. Lois and told Clark, "We're eating so much food that we will run out before the winter is over, and in this terrible weather it is getting harder to hunt." Thankfully, the Mandans appeared one day to tell them, "We have found a herd of bison nearby. Come hunting with us. We have brought horses for you to ride." The result was more food and warm blankets made from their hides. As the winter nights grew long and temperatures plunged to 30, even 40 degrees below zero, the explorers also traded with the Mandan for food. In return for the food the Mandan gave them, Lewis and Clark acted as doctors for members of the tribes who were sick or injured. And several of the explorers who were skilled as blacksmiths made iron tools, axes, and arrowheads for the Mandans. The party spent many cold nights asking the Hidatsas and Mandans about the country that lay ahead. Lewis and Clark kept all the information they learned in a journal. Then one day a French Canadian trader appeared at the gates of Fort Mandan. He announced, "I am Toussaint Charbonneau. I heard about you from the Hidatsas. I am an excellent cook, and I speak English, French, and several Native American languages. I could cook for you and translate what is said in the other languages into English." Charbonneau had not come alone. With him was his very pregnant wife, a young Native American woman named Sacagawea. Sacagawea was a member of the Shoshone tribe who lived farther along the Missouri River. The Shoshone were the next tribe that Lewis and Clark expected to meet. Lewis and Clark discussed Charbonneau's offer. Sacagawea could be helpful when we reach the lands of the Shoshone. She could show the Shoshone that we come as friends, and she knows a lot about the countryside there. As for Charbonneau, if he is the cook he claims to be, he will be a welcome addition to our party. Lois told Charbonneau, "We want you and your wife to join us, and of course we will pay you for your work." This turned out to be one of the best decisions the co-captains ever made, and while they had agreed to hire 2 new members of the expedition, they soon had 3. One cold night, Sacagawea gave birth to a little boy. Charbonneau, the new father, looked proudly at his newborn son and said, "We should call you Jean-Baptiste Charbonneau." William Clark laughed. "That's an awfully big name for such a little fellow to carry. I'll call you Pompey." Pompey proved to be a good little traveler, too. Lewis and Clark organized their notes and drawings and labeled samples of plants and animals they had gathered. When spring came, Clark announced, "We have decided to split the party into 2 groups. We will send some of you back east to take President Jefferson the things we have collected and written. The rest of us will continue west." Remember, there were no telephones and no email yet, and there was no way to send mail in the Louisiana Territory. Lewis and Clark sent some of the Corps of Discovery to tell Jefferson of their progress and what they had found so far. On April 7, 1805, some of the party returned back east as planned. They carried with them 4 boxes and a trunk filled with plant and rock samples, as well as the captain's journals and drawings. They also took with them some living animals such as a magpie and a prairie dog. Lewis told Clark, "I wish I could see President Jefferson's face when that magpie starts chattering away. The president will be mighty pleased, and he will be delighted with all the information in our journals and drawings." Clark replied, "He will be even happier when you and I report to him in person that we have reached the Pacific." Then the 2 men started westward once more with the remaining men, 1 woman, Sacagawea, and a baby.